Black Information Network. The free iHeartRadio app is #1 for music, radio, and podcasts all in one. Discover a new podcast from our library of hundreds of thousands of titles. Here's an iHeartRadio podcast preview.
Mary was found with a male companion in the Berkeley, California marina on Thursday. Early reports said Mary was a devout follower of the Grateful Dead rock group.
Dead and Gone is a deep dive investigative podcast that explores a horrific crime, a possible wrongful conviction, and the dark side of one of America's most infamous bands, the Grateful Dead.
Listen and follow this podcast for free on the iHeartRadio app. #1 for music, radio, and podcasts, all in one app.
KHVN AM, K237 HD, and KKGM AM, K248DS Fort Worth.
DFWZIN, guaranteed black, guaranteed human. I'm Jamie Enswick with BIN News Now. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries fired up over that now deleted post on President Donald Trump's Truth Social account, depicting former President Barack Obama and his wife Michelle as apes. He let off a firestorm, some of which we can't air, but here's some of what he said via his own social media account.
This guy is an unhinged bottom feeder. President Obama and Michelle Obama are brilliant, caring, and patriotic Americans. They represent the best of this country.
Georgia investigators say they don't believe any foul play is involved in the death of DJ Young Slade. He's the son of rapper Little John. Well, Cam Newton is opening up about life after the NFL. He says he once made $1 million a week, and nothing he's built since then can match that. He went on to jokingly say his version of broke and ours are two different things. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
I'm Kevin Brown on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network. Mayor Mamdani in New York City is taking the first steps to getting free child care for 2-year-olds for the first time in the city and an expansion of child care for 3-year-olds. Mayor Mamdani says the cost of child care is pushing New Yorkers out of the city they call home. It's time for that to end.
Today, we are launching a request for information, as well as a survey to expand child care capacity citywide, and a critical step toward making universal child care a reality in the city.
That request for information will allow providers to express interest in working with the city for the launch of 2K service and the expansion of 3K. It comes after the mayor's initial announcement of 2K service alongside Governor Hochul last month. Miami Beach is slightly loosening its spring break safety measures by opening parking garages and lots, lifting barricades on roads except at hotspots, and being flexible on beach closure time.
I think we've done a very successful job transitioning March from a party all you can day and night for spring break to now a fitness destination.
Commissioner David Suarez says he's trusting the city manager and police chief, who believe these measures will keep the city safe. The closure of sidewalk cafes and curfews are still options if necessary, but not expected. There's more, that ultra-processed foods are bad for your health. A Florida Atlantic University study of nearly 5,000 adults found that people who ate the most ultra-processed foods had a nearly 50% higher risk of heart attack and stroke. Black Americans are 45% more likely to have a stroke than white adults.
Just as it took decades for the dangers of cigarettes to become widely recognized and acted upon, changing consumption habits around UPF will take time.
Senior author Dr. Charles Henkin says currently about 60% of adults and 70% of children's diets are made up of ultra-processed foods. He believes cardiovascular disease will remain the leading killer of Americans for the foreseeable future. The historic Five Points neighborhood in Denver, Colorado is hosting Jazz Roots, a free event celebrating Black History Month with live music and art. The event will take place on 2 Saturdays from 12 p.m. to midnight along Welton Street. Jazz Roots aims to honor Denver's deep jazz roots and support local artists while connecting the community. The event will feature live performances at multiple locations and expand its footprint to include new venues within neighborhood businesses. For more information, visit 5 Points Jazz, the website. Burnville Safaris LLC, a black-owned travel and consulting small business, is offering culturally authentic safari travel, heritage experiences, and relocation and investment services in Kenya. Founded by Bernie Warubu, the company aims to bridge Africa and the global black diaspora through trust, representation, and authenticity. With an emphasis on private and small group safari journeys across East and Southern Africa, Burngo Safaris combines wildlife experiences with cultural immersion and historical context, often missing from mainstream tourism. More information is available at burngosafaris.com and burngosafaritours.com. I'm Kevin Brown, your home for Black News First, the Black Information Network.
In the Bay, black culture isn't just lived, it's protected. At the Black Information Network, we document the resistance, reinvention, and realness that makes the Bay Area a black cultural capital. In Oakland, history still breathes through murals of Huey Newton and the echoes of E40. In Richmond, aunties still cook red beans on Sundays, and grandkids still get lined up with clippers in the kitchen. In San Francisco, you'll find poets hosting open mics in places where jazz never died. We uplift community gardens started by black teachers. We follow youth groups organizing art shows that double as healing circles. Speak to parents fighting for their children's rights to learn black history in public schools. Yes, the Bay has changed, but our culture hasn't. From the steps of Lake Merritt to tech hubs run by black coders, we see a new generation building while honoring the past. This isn't just a region, it's a reclamation, and the Black Bay is still here. With Black News First, this is Doug Davis on the Black Information Network.
This is America's Black Voice.
The Black Information Network. DFW's BIN.
Big D, big stories.
I'm Mike Stevens, on your home for Black News First, the Black Information Network. President Trump is doubling down on his call for the federal government to nationalize elections so they can take over elections in 15 states. These are states where he lost in 2020, and in particular, he mentioned certain largely black and Democratic cities.
Take a look at Detroit. Take a look at Philadelphia. You go take a look at Atlanta. Look at some of the places that horrible corruption on elections.
He also wondered out loud about this.
The state is an agent for the federal government in elections. I don't know why the federal government doesn't do them anyway.
Well, the Constitution makes it clear elections are to be handled by states, not the federal government. Democrats are outraged. Black U.S. Congresswoman Sheila Phyllis McCormick formally pleaded not guilty to charges of conspiring to steal $5 million in federal COVID-19 disaster funds. The black Asian American Democratic lawmaker was not present for the arraignment in federal court, and her attorney advised the court that she was in Congress debating funding for the Department of Homeland Security. Phyllis McCormick faces 15 federal charges tied to alleged misuse of disaster relief funds. Her lawyer says her client is being targeted because of her race.
DOJ decided to indict a black Democratic congresswoman without giving her attorneys the opportunity to meet with them. And I think if there's anything that we have learned in recent times, this government is willing to charge and indict and arrest somebody without actual evidence.
We'll keep you posted as this case progresses. And largely black St. Louis has been chosen to host certain Olympic events in 2028. The LA 28 Olympic and Paralympic Games announced that some preliminary soccer matches will be held at Energizer Park there. I'm Mike Stevens on the Black Information Network. Now your local news.
I'm Tammy Eswick on your home for Black News First, Dallas's BIN 1630 and 970, the Black Information Network. Police cars in the city of Fort Worth are getting a major upgrade. Soon, all the police cars will be fitted with bullet-resistant windows. The police department says more than 100 of their cars have already been outfitted so far. Some critics argue that departments are investing money in the wrong spaces. The argument isn't that officers shouldn't feel or be safe, but rather, are we investing hundreds of thousands in the root causes of violence or just the armor to deal with the fallout? Well, some good news for Dallas ISD students. They're getting free admission to the 2026 Texas State Fair. The announcement was made by the president of the State Fair of Texas, who sent an email to the Dallas Parks Board. Well, former Democratic U.S. Senate candidate Colin Allred has endorsed U.S. Representative Jasmine Crockett in the Democratic primary for the U.S. Senate. Allred is a former U.S. congressman who ran unsuccessfully for the Senate in 2024. Now, he dropped out of the current Senate race when Crockett declared her candidacy in December. She's going up against State Representative James Tallarico. I'm Tammy Eswick on your home for Black News First, Dallas's BIN 1630 and 970, the Black Information Network.
Need a vaccine? Get 14 no-cost vaccines with most insurance, like shingles, Hep B, and more at CVS Pharmacy. Weekend and evening appointments available. Schedule today. Restrictions apply, subject to availability. See cvs.com/vaccines for details.
This is Mimi Brown with the Black Information Network, and today I'm speaking with Prashana Scott, a beauty sales coordinator for CVS and licensed esthetician. She's here to share a few of her skincare and beauty routines with us. Prashana, thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you.
I know there are so many men and women of color who want to take better care of their skin. What are your suggestions?
I think it's really important to have a good skin regimen. What works for me is something as simple as just cleansing, toning, and applying a moisturizer, and always ending with a sunscreen during the daytime. Typically what I do hear from Black people is that they feel they don't need to wear SPF because of the melanin in their skin. But for me, wearing sunscreen is very necessary because just the risk of sun damage, it just helps at a minimum to wear sunscreen, at least of like a 30 SPF every day for me, and just to reapply it every couple hours. Just to think about it, any dark marks or sunspots that I may have, it can be protected from the sun. So I totally stand by SPF.
You know, I think you touched on it. A lot of Black people don't think we need SPF. I've heard it so many times, and I think we're hearing it more and more, though, about the importance, no matter the race or color of your skin, about wearing sunscreen when outdoors.
From what I've learned, our melanin only has a very small percentage of SPF, so I am consistently applying sunscreen for extra protection, as well as wearing a hat because I have gotten sunburned before as a Black person.
Absolutely, such good advice. Thank you so much for sharing your story and your skincare routine. Prashana, it's been a pleasure having you with us today here on the Black Information Network.
America's trusted Black voice.
The Black Information Network.
DFW's BIN.
Big D, big stories.
If it matters to the Black community.
The Government Accountability Office is releasing findings from its report focused on an attempted reduction in force at its Office of Civil Rights.
It's on the Black Information Network.
But you do it because you have this dream of winning the Olympic medals, of, you know, creating a legacy and building and you going after your dreams.
What happens next?
A Black astronaut named Victor Glover is going to be one of 4 people taking part in a mission to the moon.
Happens here.
BIN News this hour, I'm Andrea Coleman. Coming up, a racist video of the nation's first Black couple reflects poorly on President Trump. And
more prevalent than people realize. Every single time, it's sexual women, I hear it. Even when I say to God, without witnessing.
a jury verdict could boost the outcomes of thousands of sexual assault lawsuits against one of the nation's largest rideshare companies. And the search for the son of a Grammy Award-winning hip-hop artist comes to a devastating end. Republican Senator Tim Scott, who is Black, is one of many lawmakers on both sides of the aisle condemning a video posted by President Trump. The video offensively depicts former President Barack Obama and Michelle Obama as apes. The clip, which stayed up for close to 12 hours, is now deleted. The White House reportedly put the blame on an overeager and lower-level aide. Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt previously called the criticism fake outrage and said the clip came from an internet meme, while Trump himself did not comment further. Scott called it the most racist thing he's seen out of this White House. He went on to demand the video be taken down. A major ruling by a federal jury in Phoenix. The panel is ordering Uber to pay $8.5